Okay, we are here on December 9th for a joint meeting of the IDA, the EDC, and the Funding Corp. We are going to start with the Funding Corp. There are two of us here. We have, look at that, there it is.
Approval of the minutes.
We have to start with the approval of the minutes of October 14th, 2025. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I so approve.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We have approved the minutes. Now the Governance Committee report on the Suffolk County Funding Corp. We have reviewed the established policies with no modifications. We've nominated Funding Corp officers for 2026. I will report that in 2025, the officers, actually Bob Kernan's the chair. Sorry, Bob.
No problem.
Okay. Ralph Lott was willing to serve as the vice chair of the IDA, but he said he was rejoining the Soybean Council Board, and he asked that if we would allow him not to be nominated or serve on any of these additional committees. So I've asked Marie, to your left, if she would be willing to serve on the Funding Corp committee, and she was gracious enough to agree. So the nominations for 2026 would be Bob, if you're willing to remain the chair. It would be yourself, Marie, and myself. Is there a motion for that to happen?
We don't need a motion at this point. We'll wait till the new year, but we will have to go to the Board of Supervisors to get approval for the board member change because the funding corporation is appointed by them.
Okay.
So I'll let them know that Ralph wants to resign his spot and that we'd like to have Marie appointed to that. And that should be relatively easy to get taken care of, but with timing, I wouldn't anticipate it being actively in effect until our February meeting schedule because they'll have to go through committee and everything.
Whatever it takes.
Okay, so no motion there.
We will need one to approve the policies. You did already vote on recommending them as a governance committee, but just to codify them by the board.
I would so move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. The self-evaluation, I don't see that in the packet, but
It's the last page.
I think we did a great job.
And that's more or less what it says. So this was just a report out basically of the governance committee's activity to the Funding Corp board, which effectively are the same people, but there haven't been any changes to the governance committee charter or guidelines. There's no documents disposed of, and the activity of the board, or the governance committee, I should say, for the year has been review of the established policies and nomination of officers.
Okay. We don't need any motion there. Is there other business? I'm aware of none. Do we need an executive session?
No.
And then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The Funding Corp has been adjourned. I just received a message from Jeff that he's on his way. Okay, December 9th, it still is December 9th, and now this is the IDA board meeting of the IDA. So we'll start with the approval of the minutes of the meeting of November 12th. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from the November 12th meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. The financial statements, Mr. Kernan.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to be referring to the summary data sheet, which is provided with the meeting packet. When we look at our assets, our checking and savings account, measure $2,954,000. Our notes receivable current portion was $35,000. Total current assets $2,989,000. Notes receivable long term $118,000. Total fixed assets net $290,000. Other assets $121,000. And total assets again at the end of October $3,521,000. There was a net change of $43,000 between September and October, and those changes were reflected in a decrease in cash of $38,000, a decrease in the notes receivable due to payments of $4,500, and a decrease in fixed assets of $150, which is due to the depreciation expense for the period. On the liability side, accounts payable measured $955. Net pension liability, $104,000. The fifth deposits held, $33,000. Total current liabilities, $138,000. Due from other governments, $70,000. And net equity is $33,311,000. Total liabilities and equity, $3,521,000, which agrees with the asset base. And the changes between October and September are as follows. Accounts payable was down $179. Credit card liability down $178. Labor and compliance pass-through down $1,445. Total current liabilities down $1,802. And total equity down $41,489 due to the net loss for the period in October. When we look at ordinary income and ordinary expenses in October again, total ordinary income was $122,631. Total ordinary expenses $404,386. Net ordinary loss is $281,000. There were no other income items, there were no other expense items. The bottom line was a minus $281,755, again at the end of October. The net changes between October and September. Total ordinary income reflected an increase of $637. Ordinary expenses, $42,125. Total ordinary income for the period was a loss of $41,488, and the net loss for the period again was increased by $41,488. And that's a quick overview of the balance sheet and the statement of activity. Are there any questions?
Okay, I'm going to bring a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Bob. The Governance Committee report. We start with the established policies for the Governance Committee. There were no changes. Nominations of 2026 IDA officers. The IDA officers for 2026, we have received willingness for all of the officers from 25 to be remain as officers in 26. That is, the chair is myself, Ralph Lott is the vice chair, Ben Guthrie is the treasurer, and Marie Weiss as the secretary. The self-evaluation of the Governance Committee, you'll see that in your packet. The IDA Governance Committee charter requires that the committee report to the IDA board at least annually any proposed changes to the governance charter or the governance guidelines. This year, there were no proposed changes to the governance charter or the governance guidelines in 2025. There were no documents disposed of other than valueless records per the records and retention policy. All records are disposed of via paper shredding. During 2025, the Governance Committee held 2 meetings in which they completed the following and provided their recommendations to the full board. Approval of the IDA recertification policy, review of established policies, review and renewal of professional services contracts, and the nominations of officers for 2026. That is the self-evaluation of the Governance Committee. Now, contract renewals for professional services. Dermody Burke and Brown is an accounting firm. Ellie Beatty is the bookkeeper, and Robert Kernan is willing to remain as the CFO. We're going to need a roll call vote on this.
Are there any financial changes to these appointments
None.
and compensation?
I think Dermody Burke and Brown.
No, they haven't submitted anything.
Okay, so it's the same as what last year was, which
Yeah,
is
$1,050.
$1,050 per month, and then December is usually a little bit more. They bill on an hourly rate because they help us get ready for the audit. Ellie and Bob's rates are the same, so Ellie's is $675 a month, and Bob's is $1,000 a month.
Okay, so we need to, I guess should have voted on the policies list. Kelly?
Do we have a motion for that? for the
Yes, but I
policies?
need a motion to accept the policies with no modifications.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, or actually, Kelly, you need a roll call.
Mr. Cure,
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Miss Weiss,
Yes.
Mr. Brownell, Ms. Capelli, Mr. Guthrie, and Mr. Lott. Absent, motion carried.
Okay, now we'll need a motion to approve the contract renewals for the professional services.
So moved. Second.
Kelly?
Mr. Cure,
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Miss Weiss,
Yes.
Mr. Brownell, Ms. Capelli, Mr. Guthrie, and Mr. Lott. Absent, motion carried.
Great, thank you. The IDA board meeting schedule, Sarah, anything unusual about this, other than it's Tuesday morning at 9?
Nope, so you have it all in front of you. Please review the dates. If you do see anything that's a conflict, it would be helpful to let us know. Obviously, in the event that we have another meeting like this where there are multiple board members and we're, possibly not gonna have a quorum, we can, choose alternate dates. These are keeping with the second Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m., so long as everybody still likes that schedule. The only exception to that is March 24th, which is when we will do our audit approval, which is why we do it at the end of the month. It needs to be done before April so Kelly can get it posted to Paris, but we need enough time for the auditors to get their work done. So that's the proposed schedule for now.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Chamber, Jeff?
Chamber of Commerce, working on our programming for the Tourism Promotion Agency contract. There will be a new website to promote the county's tourism assets. There will be a new visitor guide to coincide with America 250. There will be a new niche program to promote the Underground Railroad history in Seneca County. There will be a new kiosk and mobile device to promote the county's tourism program. All of these are sort of hitting at once because contracts have expired. So it's a lot. It's certainly a busy time for us at the Chamber from a tourism standpoint, and then from the Chamber of Commerce standpoint. And our foundation, we are really, really excited about the National Civics Bee. I just got a report a week ago that some 50 students have submitted an essay from the Seneca Falls School District. So really, really excited to get that participation level and our partnership with all of the school districts in Seneca County for this program. We are really, really hoping that we have a great first inaugural year, and we send somebody from this region hopefully onto the state and national competition. So very busy time.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Ernie's not present. David?
Yes, sir. You guys all know me, I'm David. We visited only 6 this month due to illness that I had and also Thanksgiving. But so it was a tough one. But I'm confident that the information here is accurate. We did see some insights from the ag and food processing. Actually, it was the first time I've ever heard anybody talk about tariffs in a serious way, about them affecting their business, but the wholesaler, I guess, of that business absorbed most of the tariff cost for them. But something to keep an eye on, and hopefully next year there's relaxed, because this is an agriculture, hopefully there's some relaxed regulations regarding imports from Canada regarding agricultural products, things like that. I don't think that'll affect wineries so much.
One thing that's going to affect wineries is glass, because glass comes in from Europe, from France in particular.
Right.
So when we get our glass bill for next year, this is 26, we're going to see on all our glass bottle invoices a separate line item for tariff per bottle, and it's something like, it's going to be in the range of 6 cents a bottle, which is about 75 cents a case, and that you got to pass that along.
Right.
I mean, we're not sitting on huge margins to start with, and so
Right, and that's exactly what this retailer said as well, was that the margins are tight.
which we don't do
It's a
normally.
difficult situation. We also met with a brewer, and business has been slower actually since COVID. Unlike, I think, a lot of boutique wineries where business kind of picked up, I thought, at least that's what I've been hearing.
So there's a shakeout in the wine business where if you're selling lower end $8 to $12 bottles, the market for that tier of wine is really collapsed. If you're in the $18 to $25 a bottle tier, you're fine, in fact.
What caused that?
What's that?
What caused that problem?
I think the low end of the market is suffering economically more severely than the middle or upper end of the market.
Yeah, the wealthy folks are carrying the economy right now.
Yeah.
And they did have plans for an expansion, but unfortunately, it's probably below any threshold that would make it lucrative for a pilot agreement. So, but I did, get that info out of them. Seems like a good idea. I'm not in charge of their business. And semiconductor, I threw in advanced manufacturing on that title because we don't have any semiconductor manufacturers here.
So just to refresh everyone's memory, when we look at building our pipeline into the 5-year future, we're looking at these 3 sectors as the most likely sectors.
Right,
We're gonna see, unless we discover something that's more likely.
Absolutely, and this doesn't reflect all of our efforts either. We're obviously continuing efforts in every industry. Because I like to say we're not industrial development, we're industry development, and we can focus on a lot of different things at once. But these are our strategic focus. These are where we're, really focusing most of our efforts and outreach. I'm doing a lot of cold calling now. Trying to establish more contacts. Even in my free time, I'm learning some negotiation skills and things like
It's
that.
great. I think you're doing, this is great, David.
Trying to learn some tricks to land more meetings. And Yeah, the cross-cutting themes, obviously we have limited data here, so, you can almost say theme cross, but workforce skills gaps, margin pressure due to energy, materials, transport costs, obviously. We just talked about some interest in incremental capital improvements. Again, some of them too small for us to gain anything from it, but great insights. Regulatory and market uncertainty affecting ag, just talked about that with the tariffs. Overall steady business sentiment heading into 2026. Everybody we've spoken to has been fairly positive for the future. I guess what's the alternative, right? So, yeah.
No, there is an alternative.
Stay,
People
yeah, we'll
mowing
stay
and growing.
positive. Stay
Yeah.
positive. That's
So
the
it's
best.
actually not that bad if they're not mowing and growing.
Right. So I have lots of follow-up work to do with those as well. A lot of emails to send out, a lot of practicing those negotiating skills that I'm learning. Other than that, we're going to continue to press on. Of course, we have December, we have Christmas. I'm going to Italy. It's going to be amazing. And
Let's open up some new make some potential client visits over there. Will you please?
yeah, in Italy, sure. Yeah, I'll get you some. Wine connections first. Be trying. All right, but that's about all I have for this month.
Great. Any questions for, by bringing the BRNE in-house, we're getting a much more clarity on what's going on out there. No one ever signs on the first visit, but the second, they say in advertising, you don't make a difference in advertising until someone's seen your ad 12 times.
Yeah,
You gotta see David 12 times.
yeah,
Which is
and,
gonna
and
be-
I do want to stress that BRD doesn't generally, on its own, generate
On the
projects.
first call, but eventually it does.
Well, from what I've heard from other IDAs at the conferences, BRD is more about advertising to let folks know we're out there, connect them with resources locally, and to foster a friendly, kind of like what the chamber does too, is try to help piggyback on their efforts. And just let them know we're here, that the chamber's here. I talk about the chamber on our visits sometimes. I make sure that they're,
We should
Thank
keep track in the pipeline when these applications come
Yes.
in. The time between your first visit and the time they submitted their application.
Sure. And the bigger ones that generally these folks are gonna know about us anyways. They're gonna know how things work, right? These bigger projects that we're
You think?
hoping for.
You think?
Yeah, right, we think. But I am reaching out and we've had a couple of decent leads, but I know, yeah. Usually the guys that are spending millions are hiring firms and they're looking for any discounts they can get.
Great. Any questions for David?
I just have one really quick one. When you go to form your, I'm gonna say like a call list, when you
Yeah.
reach out to people, are you starting with businesses that exist in Seneca County now?
Yes.
Are you reaching out to companies that have done business within Seneca County?
Yes, 100%. Well, no, right now I'm focusing on the county businesses.
Okay,
We're
I
not,
was-
we're not legally supposed to poach from other counties, like try to move them here.
no, not move them
Um,
here, but like, for example, I was thinking like just a solar one would be easy. The
Right.
solar company does not have domicile within Seneca County.
But that's
But
not,
They
yeah.
are, but they would be, and I realize it's not one of the selected choices.
Right.
I'm just using that as an example to show you how the company would be outside Seneca County, but would be doing a
do.
project here.
We do meet with those.
I'm just trying to figure out like how you would get like a call list. Like the solar one would have to approach you and then you would know. I'm just wondering if there was a way to get like a more generic list of people looking to do work within our boundaries.
Some of that we are working on building as we're talking to the existing companies we have here. So one of the questions that we're asking more often now is about the suppliers and customers of the companies that we're meeting with to find out, who
Move up
are
the
you
chain
doing
one
business
step.
with, and can you make an introduction for us? How is that relationship going? Are you as a company looking to build relationships with other places? Are you satisfied or not? Is that a company that we should try attracting here, not poaching, but are they interested in rolling out another operation?
I was just saying, it would be for the next project. You'd be building the
Yeah,
relationship
so
with the
right now
next
we're
project.
sort of building the list from the outreach we're doing to existing businesses, because we're starting to get a better sense of what that sort of supplier network looks like, and then we can start making those contacts and, reaching out broader.
I was thinking something like through permit office, someone who was pulled a permit to go work with them and be like, hey, I know you're doing this project, but maybe next time, if you needed to expand someplace different or do something else, we're here to help you. Love
I
David.
definitely thought-
Love David. Kissy
Yeah,
face.
it's tough to. I just got to figure out how to get them on board. You know what I mean? I want them to understand. I might give them the what is the IDA presentation and try to get them on our team, so to speak, because I think right now they don't care about us over there, as far as, or they think we're taking money from their schools or whatever. So there's this negative impression that they have of us to try. I got to go overcome all this.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I'll figure it out. I don't know. I'm friendly with them. We used to have an office right next door to them.
I couldn't imagine you not being friendly.
Yeah,
Just
right.
wanted to ask.
I do my best. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, that's great advice. Thank you. Right.
Sarah, next.
Okay, so we're going to keep talking about BR&E, but this is sort of a look back at the whole year instead of just the past month. So, in large part, that was the focus of this report, because obviously this year has been slow in terms of projects, and really what we've been looking at is sort of a strategic redirectioning for the IDA moving into the next year and trying to generate new business. This was our biggest year overall, actually, in terms of our BR&E program. We had 77 visits this year, and you'll see on the second page there's sort of year-over-year comparison for the past 5 years. We are, just as a refresher, Dave already talked about 3, but we are targeting in particular 5 key industries that we've identified as potential areas of growth for the county. So ag and food production, craft beverage processing, and this I also called it advanced manufacturing and semiconductor supply chain, alternative waste management systems, and clean tech fluid systems. So we've been and are still working on mapping our existing businesses in the county to these industries using the North American Industry Classification System, otherwise known as NAICS codes. And we walked you all through a little bit of that thought process a couple months ago now. So we will continue doing that mapping work and then hope to extend beyond that, obviously, to companies that are outside of Seneca County. We are also working on some updated sort of messaging and marketing of the IDA to these industries. And that has included the development of our project incentive estimator that's on our website. It is live. We are still, sort of undergoing testing of that. But it is there, it is usable, and people can interact with it. Of the 77 visits that we have done this year, 54% of those were to businesses that fall within one of our 5 key target clusters. You will see on the first page, it shows the percentage breakdown for everything. Some of these businesses do get repeat visits. And the advanced manufacturing is maybe a little more broad than just semiconductor and supply chain, largely because we do have some manufacturers that I would consider to be advanced manufacturers that sort of fall outside of that, think people like Bonadette and such. We also have a few special call-outs in here, not really related to industry, but for meetings that we've taken related to Willard and Ovid redevelopment opportunities and business retention expansion efforts. So those accounted for about 24% in total of our BR&E efforts. Transitioning a little bit from this into our incentivized projects. So we did do 6 public hearings this year, and we did have 2 final resolutions approved for projects. Obviously, one of those was ITT Goulds, which later on chose to decline incentives. So you see them counted in the numbers of final resolutions passed, just because I didn't want to erase the fact that it happened, but their project is not counted in the lower part of this table in terms of capital invested, job creation, retention, and the exemptions granted. So that project that you see represented there for 2025 is Finger Lakes Rail, which was an $8.6 million capital project over a period of time. They're planning to retain 45 employees, meaning that their Their total exemptions granted were about just over 1.37 million, meaning that that's about 30,000 in tax incentives per job retained, or 15 cents in tax incentives per $1 capital invested by the company. And that is pretty on par with where we've been over the past few years. You'll see actually we got a better deal on the job retention in terms of incentives compared to past years. That was when solar projects were a lot more prevalent. And then moving on, we are tracking 39 project leads as of the end of this year. 10 of those are GRE projects. I do not have really a better answer for you guys at this point in time about the transparency of those, or how, you know, we can really actively be following up. The system at this point still sort of is what it is. They send us a code-named project with some information about what the company is looking for in terms of site, and then, you know, we submit things, and sometimes they move on and sometimes they don't. Then we've also got our inbound leads. So this is companies that reach out to us or are referred to us by a partner organization. That happens occasionally. And then we have our IDA outbound, which is our business retention and expansion. And if you look, it's about 50-50 right now, our project pipeline between our BR&E efforts and our inbound. So it's pretty evenly split, and it has been. If you also look at the numbers from last year, we are seeing a little bit more now on the BR&E side than we were previously. So you'll see trends. You know, leads are sort of the least concrete of the projects. We have on hold, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. And then as you work your way down, you know, weak prospects are getting a little bit better. Strong prospects. Application received, and then I think I meant to put a waiting application on here as well, so that's my bad for not doing that. But that's sort of what our project pipeline looks like as of right now. Then to move on to how that breaks down industry-wise, because I think this is obviously of interest to you guys. So of those 39 projects, 69% of those are in one of the 5 strategic industries that we have identified as priorities for the IDA. So more than half, which I think is a good indicator that the areas that we have identified as opportunities of growth, at least in terms of what we're actively keeping track of, do appear to be opportunities of growth. Craft beverage processing is the largest share of that at 28%. Advanced manufacturing, 17%. Ag and food production, 10%. Transportation and warehousing, it pulled out separately, but really could be included in any of those other sectors, is at 3. Renewable energy and alternative waste, 14. So that does include some solar projects, but then also some of the alternative waste management opportunities as well. So just to give you guys an idea of what things are looking like.
This is a great format. I mean, it tells
Sarah, I
us-
have a question about the craft beverage, 28%.
Yes.
Is that new? Are most of those new, or are they existing businesses that are looking to?
The craft beverage ones are almost, just thinking through the list, I think it's almost all businesses that are already here that are considering expansions of some sort. And, you know, the issue becomes if they'll actually, you know, well, first if they'll actually do a project, and then from the IDA's perspective, if what they do will be eligible or big enough to be incentivized. But yes, there are still quite a few. Some of them are still in the lead category, so not very concrete in terms of projects. David?
Just for clarification, what's the cutoff, do you think, for a project large enough for IDA incentives? Generally.
So we would give anybody an estimate, even if it was a small project, you know, if they wanted to inquire or wanted to know. I think feasibly with our fees, and this might have changed, so like, we did incentives for best made products, which was about a $400,000 project. They had a loan, a pilot, mortgage recording, tax exemption, all of the, sort of the whole package. I think that was done though before our local labor monitoring, which now comes with some extra fees on the construction side of things. I don't think that a project could be smaller than that really and have it be worthwhile to do a pilot. We could still explore other, incentive options. And even, it may be questionable now if it's even worth a pilot at that dollar amount with some of the local labor monitoring. It would depend on the duration of construction and things. But that's roughly the cutoff, I would say, is about 400,000. Below that, it doesn't probably make sense to have a whole pilot negotiated.
But we could still do the sales tax on construction materials, things like
Yeah.
that, for them to help the smaller projects, smaller business out.
David, have you discussed anything with the organic mill, the Keystone that's expanding?
Keystone has got something going. I don't think we have.
I mean, they're pouring concrete.
Oh, that's too late.
They're reacting to the chicken industry that's
Right.
coming into this area and trying to get ready for it.
Something bigger than what their project was
Oh, yeah.
already.
Oh, yeah, they're pouring concrete crazy up there.
That's wild, 'cause I know
Keystone,
we
did you
were.
say?
Right up on 96 and 336.
Fast, right? I mean,
Well, they had a pilot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
They know about us.
they asked for extension, right?
They did
Or a
ask
reduction? 'Cause-
for, so they had gotten approval from us for their project, and then they had to reduce the scope a little bit because they couldn't get a timeline from NYSEG
Right.
on, I can't remember if it was gas or electric
Yeah.
capacity.
Well, they're expanding like crazy right now.
And that's for
Trying to-
chicken feed for these
Yeah.
chicken barns.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we will make a note and follow up with them and see
Yeah.
if there's anything.
Okay. Other questions for Sarah? Thank you, Sarah. Good. Other business, we have one other item under other business, which is to, we will need to nominate Marie Weiss to the EDC board to replace Ralph Lott, who is not going to be serving on the EDC board. So I would accept a motion to nominate Marie Weiss to the EDC committee.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Marie. Is there any reason for an executive session? I know of none. I will accept a motion to
I
adjourn.
just have one thing.
Sure.
If I could, just as a discussion
Sure,
piece
sure,
more than
sure,
anything.
Sure.
So, maybe a week or so ago, I read there was a newspaper article that was, it was an interview with the county's LDC chair.
Mhm.
And as I read, one of the questions posed to and I don't know if anybody else read this, but one of the questions that was posed to the LDC chair, who I actually know and I like a lot, but one of the questions that was posed to her was, what is the difference between the LDC and the IDA, sort of like what's the need to have two? And as she gave the response, or at least the way it was transcribed in the paper, it appeared clear to me that she didn't have a very strong understanding of what the IDA does. And if that appeared like that to me, this is, of course, a widely read newspaper, it strikes me that it probably came off that way to a lot of other people as well. And it just got me thinking that there are a lot of facets that come into play with economic development. I mean, I think the chamber has a role in there too, along with the IDA, now the LDC. Is there a possibility that we could push to have these entities come together after the new year and have all of our boards sit down and have a conversation about where we're going. How do we work together? From my vantage point, the IDA and the chamber have never been closer. And I've been at the chamber for 15 years. That's a credit to Sarah and her leadership, and it's also a credit to the board of the IDA. But it was a concerted effort to make that happen. And I'm just wondering, now that we have another entity coming into the fold, and we're in the day and age where we have a budget in Seneca County that leaders are grappling with, and how do we cut here, there, and everywhere? And it just strikes me that there could be an opportunity to bring these entities together in a meaningful way.
So I think that's a great idea, Jeff. And why don't I take it on my list to reach out to the chair of the county LDC board and try to get together. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think, because it's could only help.
Would you include the planning department in that too?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
facet
Because they're up to their elbows in it. Yeah. Okay. I will accept a motion to adjourn the IDA meeting. We have the EDC board to remain, but a motion to adjourn the IDA meeting.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone from the IDA. Now, I would like to call to order the Economic Development Corporation. Jeff, and it's you and I that are on that board,
Okay.
the EDC officers. So, item number 1 is the approval of the EDC minutes of October 14th. If you'll make the motion.
I will make the motion.
I will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Those are approved. Now, the Governance Committee report of the EDC. We have, as with the Seneca County Funding Corp, we have established policies with no modifications. We will need a motion to accept the existing policies without modification.
So moved.
I'll second. We'll need a roll call vote.
Mr. Murray,
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Lot, absent, motion carried.
Next, we need a nomination of EDC officers. This is another instances where Ralph has asked that we replace him. And that the IDA approved the replacement of Marie Weiss, so we will be having the benefit of Marie's guidance on this committee. The self-evaluation of the Governance Committee. The EDC Governance Committee Charter requires that the committee report to the EDC Board at least annually any proposed changes to the Governance Charter. There are no proposed changes to the Governance Charter or the governance guidelines at this time. There were no documents disposed of other than valueless records for the records and retention policy. All records are disposed of via paper shredding if we had disposed of any. During the 2025 Governance Committee had one meeting in which we completed the following and provided recommendations to the full board. We've just done that: review of established policies, review of renewal of professional service contracts, nomination of EDC officers. Is there any other business, Jeff, that you're aware of?
Nothing.
We need to do
Oh.
the contract renewal for Bob.
Okay. Is there a motion? Oh, yes. Is there a motion to renew the contract with Bob Kernan as CFO of the EDC?
Yes, I'll make that
I'll
motion.
second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, is this a?
No? Oh, this is all voice.
Okay.
Is there any other business?
No.
Is there an executive session needed?
No.
I don't think so. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded. All in favor? You're
Aye.
adjourned.
Sorry.